Links to join the channel here over at SubScribe now over at Odyssey. Indiana Jones and the Fall of the Evil Disney Cabal. It's on the way. Forbes uncovers Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. Perhaps you've seen it, though most people didn't. Is a $130 million flop for Disney. Oh, darn. And here's the 3 reasons why it's a flop, but it's really the 2 in the background. So quick video, because everything from Hollywood is absolutely degenerate and it's getting worse, and there's no hope on the horizon. This is the direction they want to go in. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, they're not taking the audience with them, and that's a good thing, because Hollywood has gone on for way too long. It's time people kind of awaken and see that Hollywood's all a bunch of lizard people who really are not on the same page with you. In fact, they don't like you, and you need to be aware of that. And social media has changed so many things. It's like how drones are changing warfare, from ships to aircraft. It's the same thing with drones, and it's the same thing with social media, because you're seeing these people on social media, the interviews with the Mangolds, the directors, and the actors, and oh, these are just horrible people, to the point where it just ruins the movie. Separate the art from the artist. These people are, you see them doing some kind of cooking of the spirit type of stuff, where they're in a hemoglobin rich swimming pool or something just bizarre, and you're like, there might be subliminal messages in these movies or whatever. It's like, I'm just not into it. Who's that guy? Eyes Wide Shut. What was that director's name? Eyes Wide Shut. With Tom Cruise. And, Tom Cruise has actually had an interesting history of movies. Anyway, when I say Hollywood is over, I'm not saying that like some asshole YouTuber being hyperbolic. I don't care about YouTube. Hollywood is so far left that they're out of touch with ordinary people who are moving to the right, I guess, and in some regards, and then people are just in general tired of this woke agenda. Oh, if you're SJW, you're going to want to tune out and block the channel. This is not going to be for you. So, dear Hollywood, we know, reading their passive-aggressive comments, actually, since I do the warning, they don't leave those comments anymore. They're so, oh, God, they're so soy. So, we know that when you say you hate Hugo Boss, so like, if you're not Hugo Boss, it doesn't apply. Yeah, we know that you mean you hate all European people. People are slowly becoming aware of that. And if I'm being perfectly forthright, let me say that we hate bullshies. So some of the evidence in is the last Indiana Jones movie, which lost over $100 million, which Disney's had a fair amount of movies that have bombed lately, whether they own the Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones, most of the Marvel Universe, and obviously Star Wars. You think, oh, gosh, you should just be like printing money. I understand with some of them you're going to have to get new actors to continue the franchise. But you look at Pirates and Indiana Jones, and hell, you look at everything and go, oh, you just can't do this because everything has to be super politically correct, diverse, and it's got to meet the Larry Fink no white person approval checklist. So everything's going to suck. And I know the woke crowd here is just go, wait a minute. Are you saying the woke diversity is cancer? Yes. How many? Feminism too. How many times? All those things are cancer. Yes. So what your insert straw man here? I said what I said. Nobody wants to see it. I'm not the only one who's saying this. This movie lost $134 million. Clearly mangled. Spielberg, Disney, you're going in the wrong direction. Anyway, and they've had like Madam Web is the last movie that came out. I still haven't seen it. I realized I got behind on my Disney movies or my superhero movies, which I used to enjoy a decade ago or more. I realized, I'm not behind. I just don't care anymore. Captain Marvel Part 2, whatever the name of that Brie Larson abortion was. The Eternals. Oh no, Eternals is not going to get a sequel. The girl to Mary Sue was talking about the Eternals, and she didn't understand why it wasn't going to get a sequel. She goes, it was the most diverse movie. Like, yeah, that's not a value for us. In fact, that's a negative trait. And they really don't get this through their mind. All they have is deflection, ad hominem, and straw man. I don't want to see diverse movies. I represent tens of millions of people. I'm just the one who's able to say it. People are done with that, especially now over the past few, summer of love. People have gotten to be very, very tribal, and they're seeing things on screen that are just the inverse satanic, sinister left-hand path of reality. So they've had Captain Marvel, the Eternals, Black Widow. and they did a Peter Pan remake, which probably lost $50 million. Over the past decade, they've had a lot of heavy losses in their streaming shows with the Disney streaming stuff. I think they're on 8 or 9 of these Mandalorian type shows. Mandalorian was probably a hit, and I think that was the only hit. Even in Andor, the guy was interviewed, and he said they were chasing the audience, and it's such a highly rated show. That doesn't mean anything if the audience isn't there. In fact, people who look at the critic reviews and they look at the audience reviews, and they're usually focusing on the audience. And DC has also had their share of woke bombing superhero crap. The Rock movie, Black Adam, SS Squad Part 2 with that chick Margot Robbie, who had, to her credit, had a big hit in the Barbie, but then Birds of Prey was a huge bomb. I mean, over the past 10 years, you look at these movies and like, what are you doing? None of these have rewatchability, and none of them have the vibe that starts a franchise or starts a universe, or most importantly, like sells toys and T-shirts and stuff like this. So the indie series started 40 years ago, I think, with 1981 with the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, which I will say is still a favorite, even though it's so silly now with the Germans as these like insanely bad guys. It's like, as an adult, I see that now. I'm like, dude, that's just so freaking cringe. But I will say the cinematography of it was so good. I mean, you made them as these sociopathic people. It's like, it's hard to get into on YouTube because they don't really allow a frank discussion of anything. YouTube is so lame. Anyway, then they did Temple of Doom, and those two movies are what people think of when they think of Indiana Jones. And then they came out in the 80s. Things were different then. So the first one, the Germans are the bad guys. And then in Temple, it's a thug cult, which I guess is in India. And the PC crowd whined about it even then because they're just absolute bleeding pussies. Then part 3 is, it's like, if you're not a thug, why is it offensive? Oh, I never thought. If you're not, here we are deleting communists. Well, if you're not a communist, it's not, but we are communists. Oh, well, I guess you're, Part 3 is when they run into trouble because they go back to the Germans as the bad guys, which was played out. If you should have used the Japanese if you wanted to stay with that war theme. Making two, and the thing is, you really shouldn't have. You did the war theme in the first one, and then you went to India. You should have gone to South America. You should have got into supernatural stuff. You could have gone to Africa. You could have done a lot of stuff. You can't go back to that same. It's bizarre. It's just bizarre when they did that. Making 2 out of 3 movies with Hugo Boss was pretty lame, and the audiences, they liked Harrison Ford a bit, and the film work was really good, even in part 3. And then in movie 4, it's the commies, which was great, and he teams up with his ex-wife and kid, Karen Allen and Shia LaBeouf, and they all did great jobs. And that people thought, like, okay, you've wrapped up the series. This is the end of the thing. And then they go after some space aliens, and the movie was fine. I thought the alien supernatural stuff fit in well, and you should have taken the franchise in that direction and got it away from real-world events. Then in movie 5, with Mangold instead of Spielberg, anytime they switch a director, like was it Cameron who did Terminator 1 and 2, and then some other guy did Terminator 3, so it's like I put it off watching it for 20 years or something, and I saw it, like, it wasn't bad. But whenever they switch directors, like there's no way I can wait 20 years to see this. I would love to have been a fly on the wall when Mangold is sitting with whoever the higher-ups at Disney, and they're plotting out this movie, and they're talking about the money that's going to go into it, and it's probably going to be $300 million, which I think it was. And you're going, okay, well, what's the audience reception going to be like? And in their minds, they're thinking, oh, we're going to make Hugo Boss the bad guys, and this is really topical. But they don't understand the audience just doesn't care. You can't make the audience care. They care. The audience doesn't care. You got to switch on, you got to go after the communists. You can go after the Japanese. You can go after, but one, they're all communists. Everyone in Hollywood, 90% of Hollywood is communist. They're not going to go after the Japanese. They can't go after the Chinese because Disney will be banned in China. They can't go after literally any other group but blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. And, to be fair, these people do hate blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. They hate you. They hate all of Europeans. People are becoming aware of that. So they're kind of painted themselves into a corner, and this is all of Hollywood. Oh, hey, you guys should do a movie about filming in Africa somewhere, and the Africans are hunting animals on the endangered list, and they are selling the rhino horns and the ivory to China for their traditional medicine. And the animals are going extinct because the Africans are just running around with AKs and just eating animals. So you should do something about stopping them. And they hear that and they go, okay, we'll have a British great white hunter with his Holland and Holland 577 Nitro Express. I go, no, that's because back then the animals weren't endangered. That doesn't make any sense. And they go, well, we can't make the Chinese look bad, and we're not going to make black people look bad. So then this is all of Hollywood. Extrapolate this. When I say Hollywood is over and you're going to see the massive transformation in Hollywood, it's going to be like opera or stage plays. It's like they're still around, but they're just not what they used to be. And instead of paying $15 to $20 for a ticket to go to a theater, people go to the opera and they're paying $100 to $300 for your average ticket, or the musicals or whatever. But it's a much smaller audience and it just doesn't have as much power. Anyway, so you got them in movie 5 fighting time traveling Hugo Boss, and everyone I talked to are like, yeah, I sailed the high seas to watch the movie, and it's like I felt like I got robbed. There's what's funny is I have subscriptions to some of these services because people have sent me the passwords for some. Thanks for all that. So I got the Disney thing. It's like I think I still sailed the high seas to because I watched it. I wanted to watch it when it came out, and watching high quality, watching low quality, it's unwatchable. And I was gonna say it's surprising. Harrison Ford will do anything for money, and he probably got paid $30 to $40 million for this movie, which made him look like a total idiot. He doesn't care. It's just money that's going to his estate and his family. Good for him, because it's money coming away from Disney. And anything that hurts Disney is a good thing, because they're evil. I almost said people, but they're not people. Anyway, so there's you got them time traveling Hugo Boss. That's how fixated they are. Where 3 out of 5 movies, it's the same, in quotes, bad guys. It's just so all fake and lighthearted and frivolous. And then there's that little diverse sidekick who's super annoying, and various affirmative action equity hires. I guess we were in the FBI who were chasing him around for some reason. I don't even remember the movie. So the what do they call them? The D's now, the DEIs, diversity, equity, inclusion. It's the Larry Fink checklist. So then they were all the good guys, because for Disney, dark is good and fair is bad. It's like, doesn't that destroy the willing suspension of disbelief? Yeah, but we're on such a different page from Hollywood that I don't even want to have a conversation. Here's the thing is, they're losing money, and that's a good thing. Oh, the audience is all a bunch of Hugo Boss if they don't want to be lectured to about how much Hollywood hates white people. No. We don't hate them. We just hate the Hugo Boss. We know that's a euphemism for all of European people, or that's the audience perception. Reality doesn't effing matter. The only thing that matters is the perception. And the movie, the rubber meets the road, is this movie lost $130 million. And I hope the next movie loses $100 million to the point where Disney is bought out by some other globalist parasitical company, probably Apple. And then they start losing money. Where's it going with this? So this is making Blonde Man bad. Blue eyes and green eyes are bad for Hollywood, to the point where in Wonder Woman 84, they have to dye Pedro Pascal's hair blonde, because they want you to know it's Western Northern European people they really hate. We're the people of the light. And it was a Trump throw in there too. It's like, just have his hair dark, have his eyes dark. He's Spanish of some sort. Lean into that. You don't have to dye his hair blonde. You just, hey, the left, when you're in a racist competition and you're up against the leftists. So this is a problem for the audience, because the events of the past 4 years have made people much more tribal, which was what we're doing stuff on Odyssey and Subscribestar and whatnot, because we love us and we don't want to see our tribe get degraded and dehumanized on screen. Why would we, Hollywood? Assume for the sake of argument that we anyway, we're tired of obviously seeing blonde people as evil and non-blonde people as good. And we understand what Hollywood is about now, or even if not everyone's down the rabbit hole as far as, we are in our circle, but people subconsciously are picking up on this, and it's just not exciting. It's just not interesting. It's not worth it to go pay $20 to a theater to see. It's just a oh, hey, there's a pox girl with a fro, and she's the FBI agent. She's running around. Oh, Peter Pan, except it's Indian kid. And the Proud Boys. No, not the Proud Boys. What are they called? I don't know what they're called. What's the Proud Boys? That's it's like the Gavin McInnes group. The Island Boys. I think that's a rap group. Whatever. The kids on that island. They're little pox girls. You go, that's Arsler. That's developmentally disabled. Why are you doing this, Hollywood? Because we apparently want to lose money. And I'm sure that movie, you're like Disney, or what's that thing called? Peter Pan. We didn't see that. Yeah, it came out and it went under the radar. Disney's got a fair amount of movies that are coming out and going under the radar. They just lose money. I guess they have money to lose. Anyway, so this, I don't know what they filmed it for, like $300 million. And worldwide, it made like $400 million, which it needs to make much more than that. So it lost $130 million. Good. Disney's a bunch of lizard people. And I hope horrible, horrible things happen to them. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.